there, hope you're having a great day. This video is about why one would or should or desire to run a 100-mile ultramarathon race. Alright, why in the world would somebody be crazy enough to want to sign up for an ultra marathon, especially the 100-mile distance? So that is what this video is going to be discussing. It is quite the jump. So I would like to talk about a little bit about my experience and why I made the decision to go to that distance and why I was hooked. So I had been doing some half marathons and full marathons for a little while. Not a whole long. I mean, I wasn't running for very long before I decided to make that jump. But I was getting to a point where I knew I could do it, and I wasn't taking training seriously for it. So I decided to sign up for a race that was going to be a little more challenging, that would scare me a little bit, to be prepared and to do it, and I'm so glad I did. So after doing a bunch of halves and a handful of full marathons, I decided on doing the Destin 50-mile race down in Destin, Florida, and that was my first ultra marathon, and I had a blast. It was great. So I'm a slow, steady runner. I'm not elite by any means, not even close to it, but I chose this race because I love the beach and I love the water, and I thought, if nothing else, it would be wonderful to run along the beach for 50 miles. And I was right, it was fantastic. So I did this race, and I ended up getting third place overall for females and second place in my age group, which I had never even come close to winning or placing in anything. But I had such a good time that from then on I was anxious and excited to sign up for another race. So the very next year I did the same race. I did the 100-miler, and that was a challenge. Boy, that was tough because you only have 27 hours to do it. So I probably wouldn't recommend that one being your very first race, 100-miler at least. But I did survive. I made it through it, barely. And holy cow, it's muddy today. But I was hooked after that. And here are some reasons why I got so drawn to this 100-mile or ultra marathon distance. Is, first of all, the community. The ultra racing community is absolutely like none other. Everyone is so friendly and nice and supportive. Very rarely do you get people that are mean or obnoxious and or difficult. It's just the ultra community. If they can offer you a piece of advice or give you a piece of gear that they think can help, or whatever the case. I mean, I've been at races where I didn't have any food or calories and I was stuck out on a route, and people give you snacks if they have it to spare. The community is like none other. And the aid stations, I mean, when you're doing a half marathon and a marathon, there's just so many people, and it's difficult to have a real personal experience. But the aid stations at these ultra races with a lot less runners is just so personal. They really care about the runners. They really go out of their way to do everything that they can to help you and help you finish the race and to feel good and strong. So you get doing an ultra race, you get a much more personal experience. That was nice. But let me get into what really draws me to these races. And that is the mental aspect of it all. It's doing an ultra race. It's like a chess game. You have to have strategy. You have to know your body and know the moves before you do it. Like, you've got to train to know how your body's going to hold up and how you're going to feel, and more importantly, how to push through difficult times and situations when you run into problems, because you're going to hit major walls. You're going to hit problems with having enough calories, with having severe sleep deprivation, having injuries and cramps and such. You need to learn how your body works, how your mind works, and how to get through these races. And that is what is so appealing to me, because I just love it. I love just the strategy of it all. You have to, and the more experience you get, the better you will get at it. And I've trust me, I've had so much trial and error, but every time I do a race, I feel like I get a little bit stronger and a little bit better, a little bit wiser on what works specifically for me. And I think that's great. It's like a chess game. So you need to anticipate your moves. If you know you're going to have a pretty hard section coming up, then you need to be sure you eat some calories before that. If you need to know your route, know your body, know how much water you're going to consume and need, so you can have enough to pack for that section. Because these aid stations, a lot of times they're close together, but a lot of times they're pretty spread apart. So anywhere from 10 and up to 20 miles apart. When I was doing the 200-mile races, there was definitely sections that you had 20-mile stretches and you were on your own out there. So you had to be ready. For the 100-mile races, I've never had aid stations that spread out apart, but I have had them spread out about 10 miles apart before. Usually they're a little bit closer, but 10 miles is a long way if you're doing an ultra. So it's nice to know, or nice to have that planning and strategy, because you've got to be ready. You've got to be ready for what you're gonna. You have to anticipate what you're gonna need when you're doing these races. So, and for me, it's very mental. Like I've said before in my videos, I'm not an elite runner. I'm not super fast. I have placed a handful of times, and that's only because of a fluke and I was having a good day or feeling good that day. But I don't go out by any means to try to win or to place. If it happens, it happens, and it's a fun surprise. But I go out there trying to improve myself and my time and the person that I am. And I really feel like these races help accomplish that in so many ways. You really have a lot of time out there to think, and it also breaks you down as a person to being in simplest terms. I know that sounds crazy, but you get out there and you become so thankful for your life and all the little things, because once you get to an aid station and you're just so sleep deprived and caloric deficit, and somebody hands you a banana or wants to go and help you, and you just are overwhelmed with gratitude and thankfulness. And that's a hard state to get into otherwise in your life, at least I've found. It's possible, of course, but these races really pull out a lot of emotions that I normally don't experience or feel, and that draws me to these races. That's another reason. I also like how I've become a lot more mentally strong and tough, and I've applied that to my life. So you're bound to go through ups and downs when you're doing these long distance races and hit some pretty rough, terrible walls, and I embrace them. I look forward to getting to that point and then coming out of it. I have lots of different ways to do that, but I always feel so proud and self-accomplished when I am able to get through such a difficult either section of the trail or time on the race. So, and I have lots of ways to combat that. You can always call a friend like the game show Deal or No Deal. Call a friend, have a chat with somebody. I've done that before. That can help ease your mind or work through whatever issue you're having, to just talk to somebody. You can, what I usually do is, if I'm getting into a really bad rut or hitting a rough wall, is I have to change my mindset. So I'll either listen to a podcast or change my playlist, or when I really am in trouble, I'll put on a funny movie, and that seems to really help me a lot. And I try to save that for overnight, the overnight portion of the races, because that's kind of like my ace in the back pocket, to because it seems to always work. But you have to refocus your energy and your thoughts, because if something is wrong in your mind, and then you add sleep deprivation and dehydration and lack of calories, then this thing that becomes annoying soon becomes devastating. And to get through that is really empowering. So it's nice to have those strategies when you can get through that, and it makes me a better person, and I've applied that to my life. So if I'm having a really down or bad day, I know how to refocus myself so that I can bring my vibrations up higher and focus on the positives, rather than get stuck in a low state and kind of be there and not be able to get out. So with these races, you got to figure it out and keep going, or not. And it's really empowering to figure it out and keep going and finish the race. It's an incredible experience. So having a crew is a lot of fun, and sharing those experiences with somebody, the highs and lows, the accomplishments, that's a ton of fun too. But it's also, I think, a lot of fun to do this stuff on your own, to go out and you've trained, you've worked hard to go out and accomplish a ultramarathon race on your own and do it solo. It's very empowering as well. I just feel like an overall stronger and better person. I feel like I can handle things a lot more practically, because what I apply from the races, I apply to my life. So there's been times on the races where I've had lots of issues, and in times I didn't think I could keep going, but I'll get to an aid station, I'll take a rest, I'll sit down for a minute, I'll reset, I'll get some calories, I'll drink some food, I'll look at my options and make the best choice of the plan I can do, and then I'll go and get it done and complete the race. And I've done that many times when I thought I could not take a step further, and I am able to reset and keep going and get the race done. So that's a huge accomplishment for me. And for other people, it's hard to understand that feeling until you go through it. So that's another draw for these fantastic races and these distances. And then that's not even to mention all of the beautiful scenery that I've been able to run through and see. It's fantastic to go to some of these places that I've done races and see such gorgeous mountains and beautiful beaches and incredible forests. And I've many times just been running along, looking around and being like, I can't believe I'm here. I can't believe that I am experiencing this. I can see so much. And that is incredible. As much fun as a half marathon and a marathon is, it's a whole different level when you can go to do an ultra race and run through the Cascade Mountains, or run through the forest, Mohican, or the beach of Destin, and so many more races. I could go on forever on some of the incredible places I've seen and been able to run through. And that's just another draw to these fantastic races. So then there's another aspect that keeps me drawn to these races, and that's the training and the preparation for them. I really enjoy that. For me, a race is the whole thing. The getting ready for it, the training, the packing up, the getting to the location, to doing the race, having the experience, enjoying the afterglow of the race when you're finished and proud of yourself and tired, and then getting home and being able to have that belt buckle, something to show for it, you know, and having all of those memories and pictures that will last you forever. But it's the whole thing. And one of my favorite parts is the preparation for it. I love to choose a race that will be challenging. It will be new and exciting, beautiful to run through. And then I love to go out and train for it. All of these races are so unique and different, and it's fun to train and be prepared for that particular race. Like some races, Key West was super hot. Destin was all on the sand. The whole race was on the beach. You know, the Bigfoot races and Tahoe 200, that was all in the mountains. So huge elevation climbs and such like that. So you're going through different terrain, different kind of weather, and it's fun to go out and prepare for all of that stuff, to be ready for it. And I like to think about it. I do a lot of visualization before I get to the races on how it's going to go, how I'm going to feel, how things are going to look, and how I'm going to feel at certain parts. I imagine those things all the time, especially while I'm training. So I think all of that's a lot of fun. So my point is, it keeps my mind occupied and focused before the race, for a long time before the race. And rather than focusing on things that are kind of pointless and stupid, like reality TV shows or drama going on in my life that I don't want to pay attention to, or whatever the case is that's happening, the news, I can focus. I'd rather have my focus on these races and race preparations, getting stronger, getting mentally better and stronger, getting physically better and stronger, making workouts a priority, making eating healthy a priority, having a healthy lifestyle, and having, most importantly, having a clear, simple, happy mind. And that, at least for me, takes a lot of work. It's tough to say, oh, you need to be happy. It's hard to live that. So I have to constantly evaluate what I'm doing, how I'm feeling, and try to fix that, redirect my thoughts, or try to come to terms with stuff, let it go. And all of that stuff happens while I'm training, while I'm doing these training runs, while I'm out here on these beautiful trails and preparing for these races. So because when I get to a race, I want to be as positive and upbeat, high vibration, and focused as I can be. And I get to those states and that point while training and while practicing. And so far it's helped a lot. I've completed a lot of 100-mile races, and I haven't, you know, of course I've ran into major ups and downs along the way, but I've been able to get through them. And that's another draw to doing these races. So, and another thing, I wouldn't say it's a huge on the top of my list, but it is a factor into getting to these races, is you really get to know somebody. If you're doing an ultra marathon race with someone that you care about, or that you love, or it's a loved one, you're gonna really learn some things about them. I've been on races, and when you have that nice mixture of sleep deprivation and low on calories, and mix that in with some pain, you get to some really goofy states in your mind. And you think some silly thoughts, like just how you perceive things or what things look like, the hallucinations out there. I mean, I was on one race, and I was running overnight at Destin, and I swore that I saw a great big banana boat in the water, and I could not figure out why in the world a banana boat would be in the water off the coast. And then come to find out it was the moon. So, you know, it's just silly things like that that happen that normally you wouldn't experience, but you have thoughts and emotions that you normally don't either, and that's fun to share with somebody. So it's fun to be the crew and watch your runner go through some of these goofy moments. it's entertaining at the least. So that's another draw. The experience with others is a lot of fun. You learn how to rely on somebody. You can lean on them for emotional support, or to, if you have a pacer and you're so dead tired, and you relying on them to get you and lead the way so that you don't get lost. The appreciation for that is just intensified. When I'm out there, it seems like emotions are intensified. The gratitude, the gratefulness, the appreciation for everyone involved that wants to help you and help you get to your goal of the finish line, to have such an incredible experience. And I know I've said this before with races, and I do believe this. I do kind of think that races, especially ultra marathons, at whatever distance you're doing, anywhere from a 50 to a 200 miler, is like a relationship. You're gonna have big highs, big lows. You're gonna have lots of challenges in there. You're gonna hit some walls. You're gonna learn lots of lessons. You're gonna learn about yourself. You're going to come out of each race and each relationship learning so much about you, how you want to live your life, how you want to be, the person you want to be, and appreciating so much about what you have and what you're able to experience and able to do. And that is just a huge draw to these races. That's why I keep going back to them, because I just love it. I love all of this stuff, the whole thing. That's what brings me to it. And the physical challenge is fun. It's fun to go and do a race with lots of elevation and just be like, yes, I conquered that. Or, had the strategy of being able to run on the sand and on the beach for 100 miles in less than 27 hours and be so proud that you can do that. I mean, that's not an easy thing to do. I'm sure it's easier for some people, but for me, it was hard. So I appreciate being able to mentally grow stronger, physically go stronger, and come out of each race or relationship a better person. And that is a huge draw to these races. If you're really thinking about making that jump from a marathon or under distance to a ultra marathon, highly consider it. Try to go for it, train for it, and if you don't make it the first time, that's okay. I'm sure you will learn a ton about yourself and your strategy, more importantly. Then you can go back and tackle another race or tackle that race again. And for me, it's a competition against myself. I'm not a very competitive person whatsoever. I am proud of people that pass me, especially at the end of the race, because I know how hard we're all working out there. And it's exciting to feel and to see people get to the finish. But like I said, I'm not competitive, but I do like to compete against myself. I like to get just a little bit better with each race. I like to understand my body, my mind, and myself a little bit more with each race, and I become stronger and better. And it's been proven over each race. Not every race has been consistently better. You have ups and downs with all these different challenges, for sure, but you do learn something about your strategy and yourself with each race. I love that. And it's like I said, it just makes you a stronger, more well-rounded, happier person. So get out there, sign up for a race that's really intriguing to you, and have a blast going out there and training for it. You won't regret it. Even when you're out there and it's so difficult and so hard and you're so miserable, you're gonna be, after that point when you start to feel better, you're gonna really get to the point where you want to try again. You want to improve you want to take what you've learned and apply it to the next race. That's how it was with me. I would finish a race and then I couldn't wait to sign up for another one, so that I can keep training and keep thinking about it, keep preparing, and apply what I learned from the last one or the last few to the next race. And that's a fun strategy. So I hope that you are able to don't be afraid to take that leap, go for it, have a race, have a good time, if you are able to, maybe go and pace somebody before you sign up if you're a little nervous about it, or go to a race that's nearby if you can, and go volunteer at an aid station or volunteer to be a pacer for a runner. That happens, and the runners are so super grateful for it. I used that once, and I had the best pacer in the world. Jennifer, when I went to Indiana Trail, she paced me, a complete stranger, but we had talked over Facebook before we met up, and she paced me, and I was so amazingly grateful for her, because she went and paced me through a fierce thunderstorm and in really bad rain. It was freezing cold. People were getting hypothermia out there, and she suffered out there with me and wouldn't give up. And I pleaded with her to stop and stay at the aid station, and she would keep going. But the memories and the experience are so valuable. So if you can, go out there, volunteer at an aid station, volunteer to be a pacer, go check out a race to kind of see what it looks like, get a feel for it, and then go out and try the race, and you won't regret it. If nothing else, you're going to learn a ton about yourself, and that's what I have to say. That is why these ultra races and ultra marathons draw me to do them over and over again, and I am hooked on them. But it's worth it to me for all these reasons, and I hope it will be worth it for you too. All right, happy trails.